I've been doing assistive technology for 6 years. They called me 6 years ago, the school system, and said, we need somebody to do assistive technology. Do you want to do it? And I said, sure. So they sent me to some training out in Las Vegas. I came back and they thought I knew everything. So we kind of built the program from then. And the people that started with me are here today. I started in 2003, and then the following school year I brought on these three ladies. Jamie Harwell has her master's degree in assistive technology. Jeanette Morgan is pretty close to that. It's got a lot of coursework. And these two ladies are our experts on our hardware, our software. If anything breaks, they can fix it. Jeanette has been doing this for 30 years. She started off making her own handmade, homemade assistive technology, so she's been there forever. Kelly Maloney is a speech pathologist. She also got her graduate degree here in speech, and she has been with us. She's also done some extensive coursework for assistive technology and has a competency certificate in that area. And so these three ladies have been with me for a long time doing this and have helped, all of us have helped to sort of build our program in Mobile County. We actually have other members of our team. We have an occupational therapist who's a member of our team, and she helps us with the kids who have some positioning issues, who they're in wheelchairs or some other types of issues, and so she helps us with that, helps us to get the physical therapist there to do our evaluations. We have another speech pathologist who has a lot of experience. She worked in Virginia for a private company who did classroom engineering for children with autism. And so she helps us a lot with our classroom engineering for our autism units and that kind of thing in the school system. She helps us with that. And then, who else? I'm missing someone. Arlene Owens is one of our honorary members. She has a master's degree in assistive technology. She works full-time at a school, so we keep her up to date on what's going on, and she can provide us input when we need it. So that's kind of a little bit of background for us. I know I've been told that all of you are regular ed, so please just stop me if you have a question, because I get in my special ed mind, and sometimes I'm assuming that you may have background knowledge that you don't. So if I use an acronym or if I'm using some sort of vocabulary that you don't have a clue what that is, just stop me and go, I don't know what that is, and I'll explain it. The purpose today the purpose of our presentation today is to provide a basic overview of assistive technology and implementation of the devices in the classroom for students with disabilities. You are very likely going to have a student in your classroom at some point with a disability. You will probably always have a student in your class with a disability once you get started. I would be surprised if you didn't, if you had a year where you didn't. Most of the time you're going to have a student in your class with disability, probably more than one. In our school system, and I don't know across the country how this is working, but from a lot of the things that I've read, this is the trend. We are going to more inclusion. We have very few students who are currently in a resource room setting. Most of our students who are in a resource room setting have extreme special needs and are placed in that setting, but most of our students are out in the general ed curriculum. I know at Collier right now I only know of 3 students that maybe stay in the resource room all day. The rest of our kids are out, and we have visual impairment, hearing impairment, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, lots of other multiple disabilities, and they are out in that regular classroom, and our teachers are phenomenal out there. They work with us, they help us, and so they have to be aware of things that will help them in having access to their environment. And I'm going to show you some of these things today that will help you, and hopefully you'll maybe just remember this down the road. Oh, I remember that lady came and there was something that did this that we could use. So hopefully you'll be able to Google it or whatever and be able to find some solutions for some of your kids. First thing we're going to do is define assistive technology. And this particular definition comes straight from the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And it states, assistive technology is any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially off the shelf, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve capabilities of individuals with disabilities. So, an assistive technology device is anything that a child with disabilities uses in their environment to help them access the curriculum. So if you have a student with fine motor problems and they have to use a pencil grip because they need that, this is considered a piece of assistive technology. And then you might go on down the spectrum and you might have a student with a communication need who might use something like this as a communication system. And it's not charged today, and I apologize for that, but this is a computer, and the child just touches, you know, what they request or whatever they can make a sentence, and this device will speak for them. So this is another form of assistive technology. So you can see that there's just this wide range of assistive technology needs or assistive technology devices that we can use with our students. And here are some examples of assistive technology. Some people think of assistive technology as just being this computerized system or something really fancy, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be anything from, like I said, the pencil grip. We have some other things up here. This is adapted paper. And some of our students who you'll get these students, especially if you work with the little ones, you'll see them, they're just writing really big all over the paper, and we just cannot control, you know, how big their letters are. We just can't get them to do this. So we'll get an occupational therapist in there, and they will try some of these things. And this paper is actually shaded, and what it is we help them, okay, you got to stay in the light blue area, or whatever they do. Here's another piece of paper, and the yellow is designed to help them with those lowercase letters, to keep those lowercase letters in the yellow. And actually we have some of our kindergarten teachers who use this just with their students. Same thing with this. This actually can be purchased. This kind of does the same thing, and you can just print it right off the internet. There's a great website, and it's I have it in your handout. It's gpat.org, and it stands for Georgia Project of Assistive Technology, and they actually have some paper like this you can just print out for your students. They have this paper. They have the wide line paper. This sometimes helps our students. We also have what they call raised line paper, and I'm going to pass this one around. If you feel this piece of paper, you can feel the lines on it. It helps the student to get that pencil on there and then stop when they feel that little ridge right there on that sheet of paper. And then we have these also a little bit wider. Some of our students use closed captioning, and we consider this assistive technology. Modified utensils, powered wheelchair, non-slip materials, you know, the stuff that you put in your kitchen cabinets, the Dyson, you stick that in there, keep your plates from going everywhere. A lot of times we have students who, if you have a device like this, and let's say your child is in a wheelchair, and you have that tray, you don't want it sliding all over that tray, so we put a piece of Dyson underneath it and to keep that from rolling. Also, some of our students use slant boards, and you can buy a commercial slant board, and what it is or you could use just a binder. Some people just use, this one's not very thick, but you can use a thick binder to put in front, and so it helps that child to not have that piece of paper flat on the desk and they're having to lean over and their positioning is all out of whack. So what we do is we elevate, with that binder, we elevate their sheet, and so it causes them to sit up straighter. And this is very helpful, not only for all our students, but students with orthopedic impairments. They really need to have that correct positioning with their body. But you know, once we kind of are going through some of these devices, you'll find that a lot of these devices can be used with all students. And that's part of what we try to do, is we try to create universal design for learning. And that's where you take an assistive technology device and you don't have this student with special needs over in the back of the room somewhere using this device. Everybody's using these devices, and that is so huge right now. We don't want to isolate children. Highlighting their text. This is an assistive technology device that we provide for some students if it's helpful for them to highlight their text. Calculators. Some kids use special calculators. Our visually impaired students might use a calculator with large keys. Alternative keyboards like this one are real helpful for students. And this one actually is color-coded. We have the vowels in yellow, and it's very big, so a lot of our students can see the letters, they can work with them. Our younger kids sometimes just cannot manipulate those little keys on the keyboard, so we use this with them. And as you can see with this, a classroom full of preschoolers would be great with this. A classroom full of kindergartners, they all can use this type of thing. And surprisingly enough, a lot of my middle schoolers think this is just really cool, and they want to use the big keyboard. And these are regular middle schoolers. They just think it's cool to use it. Pocket dictionary, switches, and I'm going to show you some of these switches in a minute. A communication system with or without voice output. This device that I showed you before has voice output. Whenever the child touches on here, it speaks for them. We have some communication systems, such as if you just, these that the child just can use just in a small setting, like maybe the lunchroom. Maybe just bring this in, and they can just point quickly to those things. That would be a type of communication system. And then adapted textbooks. We have textbooks with Braille, textbooks with large print. And those are all considered assistive technology devices. Right now we have our assistive technology in multiple disabilities units in the school system. Like I said, we have a few resource room units, and some of these are called multiple disabilities units. So we have students in those units who have a lot of issues. And what we've done with these self-contained classrooms is we acquired $10,000 from our director, and we put, we call them CAT stations. And what they are is each of those little stations goes into this unit, and it has a keyboard like this. It has a communication device like this. It's very simple. This is one that you just touch it and it says what it says on here. It has some switches over here. This is a switch that's called a Big Mac switch, and obviously when you hear this, you're gonna realize this is for kids who have significant problems with communicating. These are children who are still learning cause and effect. If I push this, something is going to happen. And so what we do is we program something in here, and I have it right now. I just used this with one of my students. This book is the Eric Carle book, Does a Kangaroo Have a Mother Too? And so as you're reading the book, I guess the first line, does a kangaroo have a mother too? And then you hit the switch. I don't have it loud enough. And it says, let me turn it up. Equipment malfunction.
Yes.
Okay, yes, a kangaroo has a mother, just like me and you. Does a lion have a mother too?
Yes.
And so this is the idea that you want them to take part in the story. And we've used this in the regular classroom as well when the children are doing circle time and you've got this little student and she's in your circle and she's nonverbal, and you're able to have a switch like this so that when you're reading your story you have your repetitive phrase, programmed in here for that child to take part. So you don't have this child, while you're doing circle time, sitting over there doing nothing, and you're going around the room and everybody's able to say something, and then you just keep skipping over Susie Q because she does, you know, she's sitting over there, oh, she's nonverbal, she's in a wheelchair, she can't participate. This is a way for her to participate, and we have to, again, make sure that we give these kids opportunities to participate. Also, other switches that we have in the multiple disabilities units too. One thing in years past, years ago, sometimes we would walk, and I'm not talking since I've been in the last 14 years. When I first started, I would walk into a multiple disabilities classroom, and I'm looking around, and the teacher's over there behind the desk, and they're in the wheelchairs, this children, and they're just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, there's nothing going on in here. Well, with the use of these pieces of equipment, you can have these students doing different things. And one thing we have, this is a switch. This is called a Big Mac switch, and it's hooked up to this little dog, I think. Let me see which one's hooked up. It's the Jelly Bean. It's smaller, and so when they hit it, it activates the little puppy. And we have tons of switch toys. This is one here that I purchased, and it has the adapter on the back, and you can purchase these from different catalogs. And this one,
Hi, I'm Baby Cat. Let's sing.
they have to hit the switch in order to keep it going. So he's going to sing for a minute and then stop, and then the child is going to have to, you know, hit the switch. And every time they hit the switch, it's going to be a different song or whatever. He can get annoying in my car, so we're going to turn. He turns himself on sometimes. We're going to turn him off, but you get the idea with that. And these switches can be used for so many different things. Other thing that we have is this thing right here. It looks like a little frog. It's called a switch hopper. This device, you can actually hook the switch directly into the switch hopper. This is Jeanette Morgan's favorite thing. She uses this with everybody. And then you plug this into your computer, laptop, desktop, whatever. And when they hit the switch, it acts as a mouse. So,
Rex loved playing the
oh, I accidentally turned on the tape player. So when you hit the switch, it actually works whatever's on the computer screen. So we have cause-effect software, like it might be, it's very simple, because what you want to do when you use this is you just want to train the child, when I hit this, something's going to happen. This is just very basic. So it might have on the screen a picture of a man, and when you hit this switch, the man makes a funny face. Or then it switches to the next screen, and it may have a picture of a cow, and when you hit the switch, the cow moves or does a dance or whatever. This also works with websites like starfall.com. Have y'all been on Starfall? Y'all familiar with that? So when you go on Starfall or Roy the Zebra or wherever it is that you're going, you can actually have the child there, and they're doing the alphabet, and when they hit the switch, it'll sing the ABC song, or it'll, if you're on the A, you hit the switch and it'll do the little alligator, and the alligator will move his mouth and all that. So what we're training here is just cause effect with these switches. But it's a great way for students to participate in the classroom without sitting over here to the side and not doing anything. So so this is something, and this is technology. So this is, to be able to say in your classroom that you are including all students and meeting their needs, this is a good thing. So these things are in our multiple disabilities units that we have in the school system, and they're being used. This is great. We talked a little bit already about universal design, and like I said, these items can be used in your classroom. One thing that is very popular right now is this device, and this is called the Neo Alpha Smart. They make some similar ones called the Writer, and these are portable word processors. We have these at Collier for all of our 4th and 5th grade students. They have class sets of these. So a few years ago, these were just used for students with disabilities who had a lot of fine motor problems. They cannot get that stuff on the paper. So what we did was we provided them with one of these in the classroom, and you just turn it on, and they type. They type whatever. Here's Zachary, and he's typed that he likes to play video games. We can plug this into the printer, and it prints. It's compatible with Microsoft Word. And so if they type a paper in here, they just print it out. They go to the computer and they print it out. This also has a typing tutor embedded in it. So if you've got 7, 8-year-olds that are using these, and I've seen them, they use them and they do that typing tutor, and they can type really, really well with this. This is also something, and I have recently seen a few cases like this. I have students who don't necessarily have a fine motor problem, but they have a behavior problem, and they don't want to write with that pencil and put that stuff on the paper. And all they can tell you is, I hate to write. I hate it. I don't want to do it. I don't like to write. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So we present them with one of these, and they think this is really cool, and they'll do their work. So to me, it's a battle that you don't want to fight if you're going to sit there and, you know, the child is just going to continue to not do his work because he just hates to write. You know, give them some alternative, and our aim, hopefully, is that with a student like that, hopefully they'll grow out of that behavior issue and be okay. But in the meantime, if you've got these in your school, why not use them? But like I said, a lot of our schools are buying class sets of these. Like I said, at Collier we have these, and instead of going to the computer lab, every student in the school in the 4th and 5th grade, they're using these at their desks. The teacher says, we're going to type an essay, we're going to do this, we're going to, you know. And they have, this is a basic model, the Neo, the AlphaSmart Neo. There's also something called the AlphaSmart Dana. And the AlphaSmart Dana, it looks very similar to this, except it's really sleek looking, and it's got infrared capability. And so you can actually type a test and load it on here and beam it to all your students' Danas. And then they can take the test on the Dana, you click a button, and it scores everything for you, and you've got all your data. So that's just absolutely awesome. And it's not, these things only cost about $300, so they're not expensive. The Dana also has different things that you can use with it, like science kits. You can go out and take measurements of the soil, do some different things with, I've seen them do lots of different things, and they with pond water, and they compare different things out in the, you know, out in the schoolyard or whatever, and they have these devices that plug in, and as they're testing the soil or the water, doing whatever, it's putting information in here for them, and they can go back to their printers and print out a pie chart and bar graphs and different things of their findings. They work in groups and use these. So it's really great. And like I said, a lot of schools are going to this. I have read about a school system in Kentucky. They're doing an experiment where every single child in the school has a Dana, and they're using these. They're actually seeing some increase in their test scores because their students are using all this technology. It's great. One of the other things I wanted to talk about was the touch screen. This is another form of technology you can use in your classroom. And the touch screen, everybody's seen a touch screen. They have them at McDonald's when they take your order. You know, you touch the screen and it, you know, so everybody knows what a touch screen is. And this device, like I said, has a touch screen. All the child does is touch this and something happens. The same thing is you can put this on your computer. You can buy these if your computer doesn't already have a touch screen. You can buy a touch screen that actually fits onto your computer, and those students can access. Students that can't access a mouse can access that touch screen. And so we actually do have those in some of our classrooms too, and it's been great because when we put these in our multiple disabilities units, a lot of times our kindergarten teachers, our first grade teachers, they'll come down and say, well, how can I get one of those? And they want to use these in their classrooms for their students. So they don't have to try to always manipulate that mouse. It's a lot easier for them. They like it. And just anytime you touch anything on the screen, it goes straight toward it. So it's really good. I'm trying to see. Let's see. One of our, Jeanette brought this in. If you don't have access, if you have access to some toys that don't have the adapters on the back, you can purchase something that's about $10. Years ago in the day, Jeanette actually made these from parts from Radio Shack. So, telling her age there, you probably have too. But this is actually, this is the part that fits into the switch, and this part right here actually goes between the battery and whatever, you know, and whatever your toy that you buy. So you can go buy a cheap toy at Walmart, may not want to pay $50 for this. You can go to Big Lots or somewhere and get a cheaper toy, a little toy truck, or even these, anything that takes a battery, and you can just stick this end in between the battery and the device, and it becomes an adapter, a battery interrupter switch is what it's called. So it becomes an adapter, so you can actually use this with the switches. So that's what this is. Most all of our speech therapists in the school and special ed teachers have what we call Board Maker, and I actually have regular ed teachers who borrow this from me all the time. Can I borrow your Board Maker? Board Maker, the computer lab, they borrow it all the time. This is a program. It's $300, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to create these pictures. So all of these pictures that we use to assist with the students, we use Board Maker. Board Maker also comes with something called Speaking Dynamically Pro is the name of the program. And so once you put the Board Maker program into your computer, you can actually have these icons come up on the screen, and if you have a touch screen, the child can touch these on the computer, and it will say, when they touch it, it will say thank you or please or whatever. And one thing that we've done with this has been really great is sentence structure, helping the students to create sentences. So they're typing the sentence, or the teacher types the sentence in there for them, and an icon or a picture is going to pop up above that word. So when they're writing a story, they can write the story, and it actually, these symbols come up above each word from the story. So it's really been very helpful with our students with creating stories and sentence structure. They're just great. It's really been great. And they can actually go in when they're on the computer, and they can see their choices and pick what they want to say, and then you can print those out and you can display them on the wall or whatever. And like I said, we have a lot of our teachers use this for word recognition. They'll take these symbols. They've got a lot of really great symbols in there. And so there again, it becomes another universal way to use something for your special needs kids with all of your students. Let's see, I talked about adapted pencils and adapted paper. This is another item that I actually introduced to a kindergarten student, and the teacher asked me they wanted to buy a set for their whole class. So it's another way that we use this for universal design. This is a spacer. We have some students who just want to write their sentences all together. And I know if any of you visited a kindergarten classroom lately, these kids are writing sentences. You know, our first graders are leaving first grade, and they're writing small essays. We are just writing. It's all about writing. And so you have these little babies that are just now learning how to write, and then you're having them write these sentences and having to tell them there's a space between each word and all of this. So this is what we use as their little finger, and they can write their word and then move it, and then write their next word and move it and write their next word like that. And so it's a good way for kids to learn that spacing issue. And again, this is a piece of assistive technology because it's something to enhance that student's success in the classroom. Another device that's really great, I love this. This is one of my favorites right here. Again, when you're in centers, you've got centers in your classroom, and you've got that student in there who might have some issues with access. Maybe they're in a wheelchair, maybe they have cerebral palsy, their hands may be drawn up, they're just not able to access like the other students. And so we introduce these switches, and this is one thing that we've done. This is actually just a book on tape in here in this tape recorder, and this right here is called an environmental control unit. And we have some students who like the fan to blow on them, so we might plug in the fan or a light. In this case, like I said, I have the tape player in here, and we have a book on tape. And the way that this works is we can set it, I have it set right now on seconds. So when I hit the switch, this device is going to stay on for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, and then it's going to cut off, and the child, if they want to continue reading the story, I'm going to have to hit it again. It has lots of different settings on it. It has one where you can time it for minutes. It has one where you have to hold it. You have to hold it down to keep it on, and then when you let go, it comes off. And then it has another thing where if I push it once, it'll stay on until I push it again to turn it off. So the most popular one that we use is the timed seconds when we're first trying to train cause effect. And so that's what I have it on now. So when I hit it, let me make sure this is turned up. I think you heard it a while ago.
Berg vaporized the video game Buzz Lightyear with his ion blaster. In the same room, Woody was looking for his hat.
Okay, so I might be sitting with the student and go, we got to hear the rest of the story. We got to hear the rest of the story. You got to hit your switch. You got to hit your switch. And so they'll hit it again.
Yeah, all because of my stupid hat.
On with the story.
Bo Peep smiled sweetly.
So,
Woody, look under your boot.
Don't be silly. My hat is not under my boot.
I love that story. So this is one way, and we can hook it up to the radio, you know, or whatever. So it's just a way for these kids, once again, to interact in the classroom and not just be sitting there doing nothing. The coinulator is something that's listed there. I don't have that here, but it's a device that it's just a little calculator, and it counts money. So the child might put in 2 and then hit the little picture of the dollar sign, then a dime like this, and they can add the money. We all know that the only way really to teach money is with real money, but that is something that they can use as a tool. The magnifiers we use with our visually impaired students. They might have a magnifier in the classroom to make things larger for them. We also have something, Jeanette actually used this with one of her students that was really effective, and it looks like a mouse. And once you just roll it over the text, you roll it over the text, and it comes out like on the computer screen, and it comes out larger.
Actually, it's on TV.
On TV.
Just plug it into the 3 ports on the front and run it across. And it really gets down and dirty and big. So
Yeah, and that's something small rather than have that big, I don't know if y'all have ever seen those big giant magnifiers. The Mono Mouse is the name of it. A trackball mouse. I know some adults use the trackball for the mouse. This is really great for kids with fine motor problems or a weakness. They'll use that trackball rather than a regular mouse where they're clicking, clicking, clicking. How many of you know about the Windows accessibility options in Windows? You can go in Windows and look under accessories, you know, where you have your calculator and all that stuff. And one of the options is accessibility options. And when you go in there, this is for kids who use the internet. You can do all kind of stuff with that. You can make your font larger. It actually has a program in there already built into Windows that will speak the text for you. So there's already accessibility programs already built into Windows. And again, we have lots of different software that we use with these students too. Google is just great. I mean, you just got to Google stuff. If you're trying to look for something, just Google it. It's going to pop up there somewhere. A great catalog that we like is Enabling Devices, and they have all of this stuff in here. It's a great catalog. And then there's just a lot of websites. Like I said, gpat.org is a really good website. Some of us belong to some listservs. There's something called Quiet, and it's an assistive technology listserv for people well, it's for teachers, special ed teachers, anybody can belong to it. And people will just post things on there. Hey, I have a student that is doing this, this, and this. Does anybody have any solutions, blah, blah, and people will write back and tell you what you can do. If you have assistive technology specialist in the school system that you're going to work with, that's a good go-to person. Find out who that is if you have a child with disabilities in your classroom and you need some options for that child. If you need some options for them writing their work, for doing math. We have some good math programs that even allows children to add and subtract from the computer. It will carry for them and everything. And this is good for kids that have a lot of physical involvement and they can't sit there and do a division problem. But they can do it with some of these math programs. And again, you can just Google that in there and find it. We have assistive technology wheels. I forgot to bring that today, but it's just a little wheel and you turn it, and in the window it'll say writing, and you turn the little wheel to writing, and it gives you all this list of writing instruments. And you can get that from what is that?
State Department.
The State Department.
One in my office.
Okay, and then the children's, what is that organization everybody belongs to is escaping me.
FCID, Family and Children.
Children's Disability, something, I don't know the name of it, but anyway, you can Google Assistive Technology Wheel and it'll be on there. Do you know it? Can you think of it?
I was president of it.
I know.
Exceptional children.
Yeah.
That's it. Council for Exceptional Children. There it is.
I'm older than you guys.
Council for Exceptional Children. Okay, they sell these. You can buy them. They're really great. It's really a great tool. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else we haven't gone over. Yes, the PEC system. This is so great. We are using this with a lot of our students. It is just wonderful. And what it is it's a communication system, and it's very simple to use with a student. Sometimes we have these students who come in and maybe they're apraxic, they're nonverbal, very difficult to understand, and we don't really know where to start with that student. And so what we do is we use a picture exchange communication system with them. And this is where we first are going to start off saying, I want you to request something and then I will give it to you. Because a lot of times with these students, all their life, mama gives them juice, mama gives them the cookies, mama goes and changes the diaper, and mama does this and that and that. The child has never actually requested something from the parent and gotten it. These kids are just cared for and cared for and cared for, and their needs have been anticipated all their lives. So what we have done is that they've created, these are the PEC symbols, and I have some up here. They're individual symbols like this. They're individual symbols. These can be made from Boardmaker, or they can be purchased by the Picture Exchange Communication System. And so what the idea, the first thing that when we go in and evaluate a student, the first thing we might do is I might bring in my Fruit Loops or my bubbles, and if I have this, I have to know, first of all, the child really likes bubbles. You want to bring in something that they really, really like. So I've got my little symbol of bubbles. I've got little Johnny sitting there, and so I've got my bubbles open, and I'm like, do you want some bubbles? Do you want some bubbles? Johnny, do you want some bubbles? And so I've got the picture symbol. I'm like, pick up the symbol, pick up. And you want to take their hand even, because they were not going to understand this at first. We want to give them a lot of praise. And so when they go and they pick up that symbol, and you've got your hand out and they give you that symbol, then I'm going to blow the bubbles, and I'm going to keep blowing bubbles. Oh, yay, let's pop the bubbles. Pop, 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 and we talk about the bubbles, and then I put the symbols back down there. I'm like, you want some bubbles? Do you want some more bubbles? Well, eventually that child, I've seen it every time, they're going to pick up that symbol, and you've got your hand out, and they're putting that in your hand, and you immediately blow the bubbles, and you put it back down again. You got to show me, tell me you want the bubbles, tell me you want the bubbles. And so then they're going to give you this, and they're going to get the bubbles. And so this is their first experience with, I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to give it to me. I'm requesting something from you. And we build upon that. Because the idea with this is communication. So eventually, this symbol is going to be on the table. I'm not going to cue you at all. And when they pick it up and they give this to you, I'm going to blow the bubbles. I'm not going to say, good job, great, oh, you gave me the symbol for the bubbles. The idea is that they requested something and they gave it to you. It's like if you came up to me and said, blow the bubbles, I want to blow bubbles. I'm not going to go, oh, you asked me to blow bubbles, yeah, I'm going to give you the bubbles. You would be like, you are nuts, lady. So I'm just going to, okay, you want to blow bubbles, I'm going to blow the bubbles. So the idea is communication, just like you and I communicate. And we build on this and build on this. And eventually, the students will get to the point, this is their binder, but the students will get to the point where they actually will make sentences with these. And in this book, this is one that Kelly brought, that she has a student who is just flourishing with this thing. It is just fantastic, and you can see she's got all these symbols.